Dirty Sports Podcast. I said, welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Port Hueneme, California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Happy Thursday, brah.
Thanks, bruh.
Sorry, gotta get a little booch in me. Got trying to get the probiotics in the system. I had too many
Hits that booch.
had too many meatballs with the spaghetti last night.
It's chili week there, right? Has it started yet?
Yeah, Cincinnati chili weeks all week. I haven't had any. And today is actually National Chili Day for all my chili lovers out there. But you celebrated yesterday. You celebrated yesterday.
It's National Chili Day. What are the chances? I did. I celebrated last night.
Now, was that a homemade batch? What are we
Homemade batch. Homemade batch of turkey chili. Did turkey chili. Trying to eat a little less red meat right now. Not so much a me thing. You know how it goes.
Mm-hmm.
And so made some turkey chili last night.
You know,
it was delicious. My chili, I gotta say, my chili's pretty good.
My dad had a great chili. The Walt Ruther chili. I assume the recipe is somewhere. I gotta find it. A lot of work though.
You know what the secret ingredient in my chili is? I've talked about it on the show before.
What's that?
Miller Lite. Not a joke.
Oh, you're right.
Not a joke. What I do is I throw my meat, whatever that, it's usually ground beef, but occasionally I've thrown in some beef stew chunks or some turkey, like ground turkey, like I did last night. And what I do is I throw that in with the onions to start, and I'm just going hot and heavy, like hard, trying to get that like twice burnt chili style. And then as I'm chopping up, green peppers, carrots, jalapenos, etc. That's my next carrots. Did I say that already? My next batch of veggies. A lot of times they're like, all right, you can start, turn it down. You don't want to burn the thing. And I go, no, I'm going to cool it down with some Miller Lite. So then the second batch of veggies go in, and we're getting like a Miller Lite meat veggie stew as I get all the rest of the ingredients together.
So, like, how much Miller Lite are you putting in this batch?
Oh, I mean, I usually go like about a half a can total, about a quarter of a can in two separate cool down pours. One when it's just meat and onions, and one when it's the rest of my veggies pre-tomatoes. The last things that go in for me are the tomatoes and the beans. And then I throw some corn in at the end, some frozen corn, just fire that in. But before I get any of the liquid in there, I have two separate quarter can Miller Lite cool downs.
So, like, how long are we talking here for this Joe Prano chili?
Oh, I mean, with chopping and all that, it takes 20 minutes, but then, you go with the simmer.
Yeah. You got
the longer you sit it on there on the low, the thicker it gets. I like a soupier chili, but my fiance likes a thicker, heartier chili. So we kind of go middle ground. What I've done for her is I've strained out the beans. I actually like throwing just the cans of beans in there just with the goop and all, because I like a soupier chili, but she likes it heartier. So we simmer. I drain the beans. And I go with a simmer down. Simmer down.
Simmer down now.
Simmer down now, you hit.
Simmer down now. I wouldn't think you were a soupier, because that's the Cincinnati style chili. It's the
soupy.
Which I'm more of a thick chili guy.
Yeah.
I like my chili and my girls thick. I like it thick.
Yeah. I like my chili and my girls soupy. I like a squirter.
Hey, I'm not against that either, but
No, I mean like not like aggressively soupy,
yeah.
but I like to go like I like it so that when I can mix in some sour cream at the end that it gets all like it's not just like sitting on top. It's like
Now, are you like what are we dipping any bread in yours? Like how we eating this?
everybody loves. I'll tell you what I don't love. I've come to appreciate it, but I don't love it. But everybody loves the Frito.
Yeah.
So last night we had the Frito scoops
Yeah.
on the side. I've had an ex that was a Frito base person. Honestly, I don't mind like a little I don't even mind like getting a rice base. Not my favorite, but I don't mind it. A little tortilla chip, you know. But also just in a bowl, some sour cream, some cilantro, some avocado,
Yeah.
and boom. Bam.
Well, you know, that's the move. Like Gold Star, one of their menu, they like the Fritos. They do something called a Gorito. It's
Mm,
basically like a burrito based
but it's
wrap.
gory.
Yeah. Gorito. Burrito based like a burrito based wrap. They do chili, cheese, Fritos in there with with like a chipotle ranch sauce. But the special version is you add the noodles. You know, that's the Cincinnati style. You put the noodles in that too.
That's disgusting.
Oh, it's just, man, no, it's amazing. It's amazing.
You're talking about putting spaghetti in a burrito?
Yeah, it's like a wrap, basically.
Is there not an ethnicity's food that you guys will not defile?
Some say defile, some say you know, a little remix, a little spin on things.
Um the hot Cheeto burrito is like that's become a thing for sure the last
Talk to me. What is this? I don't know about
decade.
this.
Like a burrito with hot Cheetos inside it.
Mm.
There's one spot down in San Diego that used to be right across from Josh Nelson's show. Bomb. There's a place here, and I mean, I live in Mexico, straight up Mexico, and there's a place here called Carnitas El Brother, which they're just picking random words and putting them together, like not Carnitas El Hermosa or whatever. What's
Hermano.
brother in Spanish?
Hermano.
Hermano. Not Carnitas El Hermano. Carnitas El Brother. And it's like considered the best, like most authentic Mexican. And then they have a whole hot Cheeto menu. They're like, yep, you can get our burritos with hot Cheetos. You can get our quesadillas with hot Cheetos.
What percentage do you think Raiders hats frequent that place on a weekly basis?
I think I'm pretty sure the entire thing, like I think if you look at it from above, if you were to look at it like a drone, it would just look like a giant Raiders hat.
Did you
when you're walking in, you're just like, oh, that's weird, like round place. It's black. But then from above, you're like, oh, it's a giant Raiders hat.
Did you see the Raiders Matthew Stafford story?
No.
It's so funny to me because it's like, oh, you guys randomly met. The spin is Tom Brady, obviously, who now has small ownership in the Raiders.
He's
Tom
the
Brady
Jay-Z of the Raiders.
What's that?
He's the Jay-Z of the Raiders.
Yeah, that's basically what he is, which is very ironic considering the Raiders are basically why his whole career started.
Right.
I mean, I don't think many people talk about that. It's like Tom Brady's legacy is literally because of the tuck rule in the was that divisional round?
Was it divisional or was that wasn't the AFC Championship game? No, that was.
No, I don't think it was because the next week I think they whooped somebody's ass.
That's right.
I think that was the divisional round. Yeah, is the Raiders. So now, right, he has ownership, but the Matthew Stafford saga is going on right now. Basically, as a refresher, the Rams said, hey, you want more money? See what your market value is. Your agent can talk to other teams. And now it's come out. Matthew Stafford randomly, this is the spin, ran into Tom Brady at some like Montana ski resort. They just randomly and
was it at the Yellowstone Club?
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
I think it was. It's probably.
Was
I
it?
mean, if it's Montana Ski Resort, Brady owns There's I don't know if you know this. There's a private ski resort in.
No, I
it's,
didn't.
It's right next to where I just went in Big Sky, Montana. Like when you're on the lifts at Big Sky, like it connect. We actually got off course and we pulled up to a lift, and the guy was like, "You Yellowstone Club members?" And we're like, "No." And he's like, "You can't ride this lift." There's a private ski resort that Brady, I know, owns a place at. So it's probably where it was.
So the spin, which now, like, the more I pay attention to this stuff, a lot of these guys, they're just it's weird shilling the spin. It's you see the shilling with politics, but I'm starting to see it now with the NFL insiders. Like, I think it was Ian Rappaport's like, it's not crazy. Tom Brady owns property there. Matthew Stafford. It's like, oh, really? They're just randomly running into each other. Like, I don't buy that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what everybody's laughing about.
Yeah.
Is that because it would be illegal?
Yeah.
I think I could be wrong in that. The tampering. It's kind of like, I don't know if you remember this, that Sean McVay randomly ran into Matthew Stafford, I think in Mexico before the trade happened.
Matthew Stafford randomly runs into a lot of people.
Yeah. So I guess the Raiders are
because Matthew Stafford does a lot. Matthew Stafford's wife does a lot of like off to the Yellowstone Resort. Gonna do some skiing. Gonna be in the Mid Lodge around 12 noon. If anybody wants to come have hot toddies and talk about Matt playing for your team.
She's so insufferable.
I actually, what's so funny is everybody says that. I've never actually come across her shit. I've only seen like the reports.
I've just seen a couple clips, but you know my take on this. These women who you've done nothing. He's the athlete. He's the star. He's the Super Bowl winner. He's all these things.
But my point is, to be fair, I can't avoid Brittany Mahomes material.
I gotcha.
And I've only like Kelly Stafford. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Kelly Stafford's only come across my shit on like somebody talking about it or a report about it or whatever. Like I'm not just like scrolling through TikTok and I see Kelly Stafford, or scrolling through Instagram, I see it. But like I can't avoid, Brittany Mahomes like dumping champagne on people. Her and her
to be fair,
her and her brother-in-law like fingering like bar employees and restrooms and shit.
Well, I think the difference is just the star level, right? I mean, Mahomes is next level generational QB. Maybe that's why. But she's obviously more obnoxious too. Brittany Mahomes is. But anyway, I guess the Raiders and your Giants are showing the most interest. But again, the argument kind of is they're probably using this, or at least Stafford's agent, as a
leverage for the Rams.
Yeah, negotiating because does Matt Stafford in the end of his career want to go to your Giants or the Raiders when, again, they were this close to playing in the NFC Championship last year with that squad?
Yeah. But the Rams, the X factor here, or like the thing we're not talking about, is the Rams are a smart, well-run team. I always talk about, and I was just saying this to a friend of mine who had decided to put their dog down, and they were like, "We're going tomorrow," and I was like, "How's the dog doing?" They're like, "I mean, he's 16 and blah blah," and I was like, "This is the best move you could ever make. One day early is infinite, like a trillion, million, bajillion. Like there's no way to calculate how much better one day early is than one day late. You put your dog down one day late, it's the worst day of your whole life.
Yeah.
You put your dog down one day early and you've made this decision, the quality of life isn't good. The Rams are a well-run organization, and well-run organizations in the NFL do exactly that. We're going to move on one season early, not one season late. And so you could say, does Matthew Stafford want to spend the end of his career with the Giants or the Raiders? These guys want money. And I don't know Matthew Stafford well enough to know how loyal he is. I know they made a whole big deal of his loyalty in Detroit and whatever, but is he going to take $30 million to play for the Rams versus $45 million to play for the Raiders. I don't know.
I mean, look, I know you say he wants money. I just looked it up. He's earned $364 million career earnings.
I'm
just saying, like,
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, let's take with taxes, with everything. I always say just skim half off the top. So okay, you've earned over $180 million, and that doesn't include endorsements.
Yeah,
and all the other stuff. I know what you're saying, but these guys want money. But I do think quarterbacks are smart, and most of them have a legacy thing, right?
Ruther,
at the end,
your boy, your boy was the richest man in the world. The richest man in the world. He has more billions than Matt Stafford has millions. And he's fucking standing up in front of our government and putting on a whole dog and pony show, literally just to increase his own net worth.
Why are you saying my boy?
You
always say my boy.
Well, you can't. You were shadow banned on Elon, and you were still standing for him.
There's things I like and agree and support that Elon does. There's things I don't. I would not call him my boy. What are you talking about? Last episode, I was the one bringing up how he's got 5 baby mamas and 13 kids, and you made the point, and I agreed with, like, you're Tyreek Hill. I was the one saying that. So don't be coming at me like my boy. Do I think there's alternative motives for every billionaire? Fuck yeah. And
yeah, I mean, his it's not even an alternative mode. It's pretty, you don't have to do a whole lot of, you don't need a Sam Tripoli conspiracy detector to know that this is all about him making money. My point is he could take a shit that's worth more than Matthew Stafford, and he's still making moves to try to increase his fucking worth. Well, yeah. So Matt Stafford trying to get an extra $50 million out of somebody is not that surprising.
No, I'm not saying that it is. I'm saying I think traditionally QBs at the end are like trying to chase that last ring or two. Now he already got one, and we already know Matthew Stafford's career-wise, he's another one of those guys that's gonna be Eli level when he retires. There's gonna be so much discussion, everything's gonna be so scrutinized as far as the Hall of Fame. That's what's gonna happen with Matt Stafford. We all know it. And unlike Eli, he doesn't have 2 Super Bowl MVPs. Right. He doesn't have 2 Super Bowl wins. So I think, look, if he's smart,
he has a losing record.
He has a losing record, I believe. If he's smart, you just go back to the Rams, right? You have Sean McVay. You have an offense that's taken no-name 3rd and 5th round draft pick receivers like a Cooper Kupp and a Puka, and you've turned them into all-pro guys.
Yeah.
It's like, to me, this is a no-brainer. And as far as, like, I don't even know what that worth is as far as a Giants or a Raiders, what the trade capital is.
Right. Well, that's what I said. It's like, I would love him on the Giants as like a steadying ship for, a steadying captain on a rickety ship for 2 years while you figure out who your next quarterback's going to be, but not for a first rounder and not for $50 million.
Yeah.
The $50 million I could maybe stomach after coming off of 2 years of $40 million for Daniel Jones, but not for a first round. No first rounders in this deal.
Well, not at this stage. I totally agree. Did you see the Falcons are going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup? Wild.
Kirk Cousins is the Ghislaine Maxwell of the NFL. Kirk Cousins has picks and but Kirk Cousins is the BSO archives of the NFL. He has picks and vids of every NFL owner running a train on a 5-year-old girl. Like, it's literally they walk up to a naked 5-year-old girl, spread eagle. They hold up their team fucking logo, and then they bang that girl. That is the only explanation at this point.
Joe, listen to this. Falcons GM Terry Fontenot said they're comfortable keeping Cousins as a backup. Listen to this. Paying him as a backup $27.5 million in 2025, while also triggering another $10 million to become fully guaranteed for 2026 on March 17th. So if he's still on the roster in about 20 days, he's guaranteed another $37.5 million. And you know what? I know you're joking, but I don't know if you are joking, because why? I've never seen somebody pay a backup so much money.
I've been saying this since the dude played in Washington, D.C.
Does he have dirt on everybody?
It's the only explanation.
He's got dirt on every team, every owner.
He's got dirt on at least 3 of them.
It's unbelievable. I can't comprehend why you would.
Dan Snyder, at some point when he was in DC, was like, "Hey, Kirky, we love you. We haven't decided what we're going to do with you yet, but we're giving you top 5 QB money. We're franchising you." He's like, "Great." He's like, "You want to come on my boat? We're going to be off the coast of France for a week." And he's like, "Boat sounds great. You guys going to be doing some fishing?" And he's like, "No, not really. It's mostly just champagne and fucking underage girls." And Kirk Cousins is like, LOL, thinks he's joking. And then he gets there, and the only people that are on the yacht are literally girls under the age of 12 and 8 other NFL owners having sex with those girls. And Kirk's like, "Well, there's the 8 teams I can play for in my NFL career."
And he's the only sober one. So he's documenting the whole thing, because Kirk doesn't look like a guy who would drink.
Yeah.
So he's the only sober one.
And Kirk's like, "I'll have sex with one of these girls as long as they're not vaccinated." And
unbelievable. He would never. He's a Jesus guy.
What are we talking about? He would only do it if it was young boys.
Yeah, that's my point. He's a Jesus guy. I don't know. I really don't understand. Again, I've never seen someone pay a backup so much money. And then we have the Aaron Rodgers situation, which sounds like nobody wants him. No surprise. I wouldn't want him at this point in his career. I saw something that he reached out to he's reaching out to people now.
Who'd he reach out to?
It sounds like he has interest in your Giants.
Let's be completely and totally honest, right? This is like Aaron Rodgers' play was not Aaron Rodgers' MVP play the last couple of years, and obviously he had an Achilles, and then a pretty, I would say, I don't want to say certainly a mediocre year for him, but pretty like league average season, maybe a little even better than league average season last year for the Jets. This is 100% his attitude. Like think about Peyton Manning's last couple seasons. You know what I mean? They're like, get a defense, whatever. He's still smart. We can still there are winning teams out there that are an late Aaron Rodgers career away from being like far better than they are right now.
Yeah.
And he can't get those calls strictly because of his attitude.
Yeah, because I saw something, and again, these are all just and there's a million insiders that like teams that again have like a core in place, like a Steelers, where you're like, okay, you got a defense, like you're talking about. It didn't have interest. Teams like that.
The Saints are going with Derek Carr again.
Yeah.
Like again, I'm a Derek Carr defender, but like the worst version of Aaron Rodgers is better than Derek Carr.
Yeah. I think he's going to end up on your Giants, and I'm going to laugh my ass off for our show.
I don't know if he will. I mean, he could, but I would be shocked.
But if you're the Giants, don't you just want to? They're saying this is a very weak, not just a QB. Again, I don't know. This is what they say. I always think it's so tough to evaluate talent, but they say this is a very just overall weak draft class.
Yeah,
from top to bottom.
I think the Giants overspending financially and in draft capital for Matt Stafford is more likely than Aaron Rodgers, simply based on this. The Giants are not getting a ton of good press lately. The Giants, it's a pretty low bar in New York football to not be the laughingstock. Like the Jets are the laughingstock because they have Aaron Rodgers, amongst other things. The Giants right now, I believe, have the worst odds to win the Super Bowl next year.
Really?
Yeah. Now, the idea of adding Aaron, like you had the whole Saquon Barkley Hard Knocks thing. You've got the, Daniel Jones contract. You've got the, just the Dable, like what's going to happen. You've got all these things. You've got the worst odds to win it all. You can't add Aaron Rodgers to that mix. You can't add Aaron Rodgers to like the media frenzy that is happening around the Giants right now.
It'd be tough. I agree.
Not to mention, again, the Giants' main problem. I know everybody wants to shit on Daniel Jones and Eli Manning before him and this and that. Saquon, look, holy shit. Saquon Barkley only has 60 yards runs when he's on other teams. But he gets hit behind the line every time he's on the Giants. Oh, that's because he didn't like playing in a blue uniform. Their offensive line sucks. You put Aaron Rodgers behind that offensive line, he'll be dead.
Yeah. Well, to continue the quarterback trend here real quick, I was telling you this before the show. I felt like it didn't get much traction yesterday, but all the NFL stuff is happening right now because they're doing the combine and all those meetings and rule decisions in Indianapolis. The league reviewed the number of fouls drawn by QBs to see if there was any preferential treatment from officials and found there's no pattern. So this is how they do it. They do it by basically every time a QB is hit per 100 hits. So basically just hit on the field per 100, and they do a percentage. Tua received the most penalties. I shouldn't say received the most penalties. I guess the most foul penalties were called per 100 hits on Tua at 7.32. So Tua at a little above 7%. This is the top 10. It goes Tua, Josh Allen, Bryce Young, Cooper Rush, Kyler Murray, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes is 8, Daniel Jones is 9, Aaron Rodgers is 10. So everybody out there who's saying that Patrick Mahomes got preferential treatment, got all these rough in the penalty calls when they're opposing defenses, it's just statistically not true. He's 8th. And the irony here is you'll see, obviously Bills fans have a lot of beef with Chiefs fans. Josh Allen is number 2 on receiving those calls. So Patrick Mahomes is not even in the top 5. Now your bottom 5 is interesting too. Your bottom 5 who all received 0 calls per 100 hits are Derek Carr, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, and Bo Nix are your bottom 5. Joe Burrow, because a lot of Bengals fans continue to bitch about him throughout the year, and I think they definitely missed some calls. He's in the middle of the pack. He's 15th. So look, unless they're cheating this system, unless the NFL is exposing this system that is illegal, not illegal, but like they're lying, there is no Patrick Mahomes bias.
I think they are lying. Because Jalen Hurts 0. We all know the league was rigged this year for the Eagles to win. So seems suspect.
Did you see the Packers? I don't know who it was, their GM or somebody's making a push to get rid of the tush push.
Yeah. He's like, make football not gay again.
I would not keep the tush push. You know my stance on it. Why are we getting rid of the tush push? Why?
What's your stance on it? I don't know.
Well, my stance is like they're saying it's not their take to get rid of it is that it's not productive for the game. My take is like, in what way?
Well, I mean, listen. You remember the tush push just as a name, is a takeoff from the Bush push.
Look, you're bringing in,
But
again,
you understand what I'm saying, right?
yeah,
The
Reggie
reason
Bush, the Notre Dame thing.
which was illegal then, which is why they were this is why they were bitching about it. They're like, it's illegal to shove a guy with the ball from behind.
Yeah.
So it's not like this is unprecedented. Oh, we're over regulating the game of football.
It would be funny if they got rid of it, though. Like that would be detrimental to the Eagles, and also how many tush pushes did Josh Allen do?
Eagles are a bottom 5 team without
it. You're out of your mind.
Eagles odds of winning the Super Bowl next year fall below the Giants if they.
Here's a crazy idea: take away the tush push, do Saquon Barkley's MVP odds skyrocket? Because don't you think he gets a lot more of those touchdowns?
I don't think they get any touchdowns. I think they go 3 and out on every fucking drive for the rest of the eternity. If you can't have blatantly homosexual sexual acts on the field, the Eagles have no chance of winning.
I mean, you could argue football's pretty gay to begin with.
Yeah,
I mean,
but the play where you hold your quarterback upside down and then your tailback comes in and 69s him is especially.
It's a little extra gay.
It's a little extra gay.
A little extra gay.
When they had to give Saquon Barkley a face mask that was closer to his face so he could properly eat Jalen Hurts' ass.
Why do I think there's a like a gay porn of this somewhere? It's
it's the Eagles Super Bowl DVD.
You're unbelievable.
It's a bunch of right now. There's a bunch of a bunch of guys who gay bash, just the most closeted people of all time, jacking off into a Wawa hoagie and washing it down with a Yingling as they watch a gay porn DVD under the guise of it's the Eagles Super Bowl DVD.
By the way, a Wawa came in the greater Cincinnati area.
Well, like, there goes the neighborhood.
Like not anywhere near me, maybe like 35, 40 minutes away. Like way out, kind of like away from the city. Yeah. There's a
Wawa's like, well, if they're renaming all the come and goes, we've got to this is our time to strike. Try the tush push hoagie where the guy behind the counter fucks you in the ass as he makes you a foot-long American.
Well, some good smart NFL news. They're going to change the first down. They're going to use the Hawkeye, not the Hawk Tui, the Hawkeye.
Yes, I love this.
They will put on an electronic system to measure first downs for the upcoming season. The chain crew will be there as backup. So,
right.
So,
the chain unions.
Yeah. So all you 65-year-old retired firefighters,
all the dads of the players. I love that all the way to the NFL level, the chain gangs are just like guys they pull out of the stands. They're like, hey, Mr. Hurts, we know you're not doing anything today. You mind working the chains? He's like, God damn it.
I mean, it's about time they're embracing this, though.
Yeah. Same as in baseball. It's the same. It's amazing. The tennis has had this camera for fucking, 15 years now? I mean, it's at least 10.
Yeah, it's been that long. It is pretty amazing that they would wait this long to do it. Like the question is why? Why did you wait this long? It's just they're so tough to change. But that's a smart one. About damn time. Okay, we have to go over. I love this segment every year. The NFL Players Association team reports.
By the way, do you have Justin Tucker on the rundown for today? We got to get to that too.
I do. We can get to that right now.
Sure. Well, we can do the NFL report first.
So they started doing this, I think 3 years ago, the NFL Player Association, they just rate anonymously their team. Real quick, from treatment of families, food/dining area, nutritionist/dietitian, locker room, training staff, weight room, strength, coaches, team travel, head coach, and ownership. So all those are the categories. And it's basically just like school. You get an A through F. And this year we have the top 5. Let's see who made the top 5 this year. Top 5. It's interesting because it's not always teams that do well. That's what kind of I find interesting about this. Number 1 was the Dolphins. Number 2 was the Vikings. 3 was the Falcons. 4 Raiders. 5 Chargers. Your bottom 5.
Well, like go through that again. Who's won?
Dolphins.
Okay. Dolphins. You got. I mean, a player's coach. You've got Miami.
Yeah.
2.
Minnesota Vikings.
Okay. New stadium, newish stadium.
Yeah.
Raiders, newish stadium.
Yeah. Falcons are 3. Falcons are they're one of the few owners that gives like affordable food prices to the concession stand.
Yeah.
Arthur Blank does that. So
Chargers, new stadium.
Yeah. Well, Chargers were really low last year. They were one of the highest leaps. They actually listened to their players. So, it's Dolphins, Vikings, Falcons, Raiders, Chargers. Your bottom 5 are Steelers. Here's what's interesting about your bottom 5. I believe mostly, Steelers, so family-owned forever.
Mm-hmm.
Jets, we all know about the Jets. Woody Johnson was voted the worst owner by his players. Browns, Patriots, and Cardinals.
Wow.
Did you see the thing about the Patriots?
No.
So they're one of the few teams that actually owns, I believe, their planes. This is wild.
I didn't know that.
Patriots team travel received an F. They were 31st out of 32 teams. 39% of the players reported having a comfortable amount of space on team flights, ranking at 31 out of 32. The players feel that their team's travel schedule is not efficient, but here's the big kicker. The players, this is amazing. This just shows how cheap these owners are. Players want an upgraded team plane. The current plane is too small. Listen to this. There is no Wi-Fi.
Wow.
And their seats have ashtrays on the armrests.
Well, that's because they bought their own plane, which was dumb in the first place. Like maybe it was a great call when they did it. I mean, you got to imagine it's relatively old if there's ashtrays on there. But now the move with all of these things is it's just corporate backed.
Yeah.
Like Delta, the official sponsor, the official travel partner of whatever, and then Delta just gives them a plane for the season. Maybe they paint their shit on it. But I've seen the Patriots plane parked out here every time they come to town because it's their plane. And so maybe a good call when it started, but now just get with the times. Like, you don't need your own plane. Sell that fucking plane. Although maybe it's like now it's too old to sell it.
Yeah. So a player specifically responded that our plane is the worst thing: size, space, safety, and it's not conducive to preparedness for athletic performance. Again, no Wi-Fi.
That's just crazy from, like you said, a preparedness level.
Dude, you're traveling. You got a game at SoFi. You're playing the Chargers. You're traveling from Boston to Los Angeles. You got a 6-hour, 5.5-hour flight.
You guys got your guys got Discmans because they can't stream music.
Guys are walking in with Walkmans.
Meanwhile, you get on the Redskins plane, and Jaden Daniels is in some sort of Jurassic Parky VR thing in the back, going through his thing at like double speed. He's like, looks like he's Han Solo and Carbonite stuck in the back. Meanwhile, the VR headset's on him. He's just really in like a deep Carbonite sleep so that he can get extra rest.
Well, they greatly improved. They have new ownership, obviously. Their grades, their owner was pissed at how bad the grades were last year in his first year. So they made one of the biggest leaps overall as a team. And what I read about them was basically they didn't. Here's the thing about all these owners, guys, as we go over some of these things. And this is kind of what the article was saying about what Washington did. You don't need to sink $500 million into some brand new state-of-the-art facility. It said he just went through, listened to the players' complaints, and said, okay, we're going to update our training staff, our dietitian staff. We're going to make some upgrades at the team facility. We're going to, do simple things that, again, aren't going to break the bank. You don't got to build a $200 million whatever facility, but just update things and make it nicer. And now the players are happy. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
Like the Bengals. Funny thing is, I didn't see this yet. Our boy Justin Wood sent it to me yesterday. We were laughing because the Bengals were the worst again. I don't know if they were last year, but they were the worst again in food dining. 32 out of 32 teams. Apparently the food is just terrible. The Bengals players wish that more meal.
I mean, let's be honest. They switched to Skyline.
I agree.
And the ratings just dropped.
I mean, it's apparently awful food. The Bengals players wish that more meals would be provided throughout the week. The team does not provide 3 meals a day. It is only one of 2 teams in the league that don't do 3 meals a day. The Bengals were dead last in taste, dead last in freshness, and then again, not even 3 meals a day. Freshness. And then I saw some posts from people with insider information saying it's literally like grade school cafeteria food. Here's my thing. What did we just talk about with Washington? The minor up guys, you're not serious. You're just not. I know I hamper on this and I harp on this all the time, being somebody who lives in Cincinnati. You're not a serious organization if you don't want your players to eat well. That affects their performance on the field. You're just not serious.
What Bengals ownership don't understand is that the NFL, like any free agent, has come from a different place.
Yeah.
Anybody who's they sign has come from a different place. So, Bengals ownership, they've only been in Ohio. They're only thinking about people that are in Ohio. Like the rest of the world doesn't just eat canned chili all the time. You know what I mean? Like once a guy has been in Miami or played in New York or whatever, he's coming, he's like, oh, the food here sucks. They don't know. They got fucking Stockholm syndrome. They're just like, what are you talking about? It's Skyline.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Shit.
Yeah, you just get spaghetti, put chili, put cheese on top of it. It's called a 3-way.
And it's like, guys, leave the Midwest for 5 minutes.
But again, like these aren't, like I just said, these aren't.
We need to get that Bengals owner out here to Carnitas El Brother.
Yeah, these aren't bank-breaking upgrades. Sink a few more $1 million. And I know we did this last year, Joe, and let's do it again. The idiots on all these teams, the idiots that simp for your billionaire owners.
But Andy, it's the number. Forget like this is now reached. It's funny because it's been happening in sports for years.
Stop simping.
This is the number one. This is truly, and Bill Burr fucking just had a great rant on it. This is the number one problem in the world today. People simping for billionaires.
Yeah, don't simp for billionaires.
Yeah.
Don't simp. Oh, you make millions of dollars. Why don't you bring your own food? Well, let me let people in on something. If you go to Facebook or any of these like big corporations, Google, guess what they have for their employees? State-of-the-art facilities, state-of-the-art gyms, state-of-the-art food. Dude, if they can take care of their employees who are literally sitting in front of a computer and providing them with the best meals, maybe a professional football team should do that. It's not that hard. You're just being a cheap ass. All these guys, Robert Kraft, you're being a cheap ass. You don't want to upgrade your plane. You don't want to give your players Wi-Fi. You're just being a cheap ass. Like I know hand jobs at Jack Shacks at strip malls in Clearwater, Florida are expensive.
Supposedly it's why Bill Belichick, supposedly it's why the relationship soured, because Bill Belichick's girlfriend couldn't get on TikTok when she was on the plane. And he was like, you're going to need to do something about this. She has makeup tutorials to make. She's trying to post her get ready with me while I fly to the Patriots game in Los Angeles, and it won't post.
It's just, again, it's the simplest of things. I'm going to harp on the Bengals here again. They also were the worst as far as treatment of families. Again, Dude, you're a family-run organization. The Bengals are only one of 3 teams that do not offer daycare. Here we are, back to daycare
Oh my God.
during home games, and one of only 10 teams that do not offer a family room.
What is going on in Ohio with this daycare situation?
The Bengals players said they feel like there is little to no effort when it comes to the organization's effort to support the family. One player described the treatment of families as almost disrespectful. And again, we talk about simping. I see people like, find your own nanny. Guys, it's a matter of keeping your employees happy, and you have the money. You have the money. Like it's the same thing about like just pay somebody a livable fucking wage, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not. You can make money.
It's not, Andy. Here's what it simply is about. It's simply about every other team. This is a league where guys can decide to go somewhere.
Yeah.
The idea that like, oh my God, Bengals players are treated so much better than employees at Applebee's.
Yeah. That's the argument. That's the argument.
No one's going to sign as a free agent at Applebee's, but they are. But can you imagine telling a player, not only are the facilities and the coaching staff and everything and the daycare worlds better, but you can live in South Beach instead of Cincinnati. Like, I'm going to buy a yacht and go out and fucking, the bay. It's like, oh, or you could go take a tugboat across the river to Kentucky.
Which, by the way, is absolutely scenic this time of year, Joe, if you've ever been there. Like I said, though, no surprise, the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, received the worst score of all owners. The players said they feel that Johnson does not contribute to a positive team culture, which ranked him 32 out of 32. They said the players feel he is somewhat committed to building a competitive team, and ranked him 31 out of 32. Like, again, a lot of these grades are just...
Number one sign you're out of touch with reality: suit jacket, ball cap.
Number 2 sign you're out of touch.
Doing Woody Johnson.
Yeah. Number 2 sign, you're deciding your player personnel based on their Madden score from your kids named Brick and Rock and TJ, and I don't know what their kids' names are. Wasn't there a Brick?
Going to your personal stylist and being like, hey, you know who's looking really hot these days? James Carville. Can you give me that look?
I bet you. First of all, I'll go on record saying I bet James Carville. I bet the Jets would be they'd be a much better squad if James Carville was the owner.
100% agree.
Like, it's not even a question. I bet you he'd bring in some good Louisiana cooking.
You know his son's name's like Forrest or Hunter, not Brick and Stucco. I love that the whole Johnson family is only named after building materials. They're like, we got Woody, Brick, Stucco, Drywall is going to be the head of player personnel.
Asbestos.
Yeah. We got to get rid of our quarterback, Asbestos.
What a debacle, though. And again, the teams that like received high grades, dude, it's simple things, man. Have good food, take care of the families. Dude, imagine you play for the Bengals and you lose. And it's like one of those cold December days. And you go home and you're like, oh, now my wife's just like, she's got the 3 kids and she's like, we have nowhere to sit. But, and she's just bitching. You're like, God damn, just makes it worse.
I just went to Bozeman for shows. They put you up at a motel for Last Best Comedy. Now, before anybody's like, that sounds awful. Here's the thing. It is a full-on proper motel. Door to the outside. It is, if it didn't have all the amenities, you would be like, I'm never performing at this place again. I'm staying in a motel. It is they vintaged out the motel. You go in the lobby, it's like you're on the set of Mad Men. They got an old 57 Chevy parked outside. All the rooms have multiple. There's a radiator heating system, and then they have like one of those wall heaters. It's like, this is your backup heat. It gets cold here in case you need a backup heat. All the little fucking things, beautiful curtains, nice decor, everything's clean. It is like, at a baseline, it is a motel. All they did was make it nice.
Yeah.
All of you guys are in football stadiums. You all have the same structure to start with. Now, some of them are built newer. This motel was built in the 30s in Montana. All they did is put money into making it nice. And I went there and I was like, hey. And I talked to the club. I go, hey, I'm going to stay a couple extra days. Can you just extend my stay? Like, I'm sure you get a corporate rate or whatever. And they're like, you don't want to stay somewhere else? I was like, this place is great. What else does a man need? It's a fucking that is what every football team does. You're just going, oh, well, we're the Bengals. It's a motel. You got to get your own ice. You're like, okay, fine. Fuck you. I'm going to Miami.
Yeah. And at a certain point, right, I think people forget that it's a job, right? And when you take any job, you weigh everything, right?
Yep.
You're not just weighing, hey, man, I get to play with Joe Burrow. I get to play with the generational QB. You're saying that, but you're also going, yeah, but the meals suck 7 days a week. And I got to walk across the street on the concrete to go to some shitty outdoor practice field, which is next to some bubble that is also it's like you're weighing, and then like you said, it's like, and I'm also living in Cincinnati, and you're weighing all those things because it is your job. Some people all they care about is winning, and they're going to go to the place that wins, and that's gonna override it all. Like the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Kansas City Chiefs are not scoring highly on a lot of these things, and we talked about this last year. But there's a lot of guys who are like, okay, I'll put up with the BS to play with Patrick Mahomes, to play with, and to be coached by Andy Reid, all those things. But there's some guys who just won't. And again, it's just not that hard of a remedy on a lot of these things for
to be like, there's a fucking omelet station.
Yeah. Billionaires. Like, and I've talked about it, and I know it just works. It works in that system. But when I lived and worked in Las Vegas, when I worked at Caesar's Palace, I loved the employee cafeteria. Again, it's not the biggest thing, but it was like, oh, I can eat whatever I want, whenever I want. They literally have chefs in there. Oh, can you make me a specialized Philly cheesesteak? Can you make me this? Dude, those little things to me went so far. It went so far. Like, oh, this enhances my job because I get nice food. You're one of 53 guys on a roster that plays in the NFL, and you're going to the Bengals cafeteria and you're getting the pizza, the square pizza, grade school lunch.
Eddie and I were just talking about it this weekend. When we were in Arizona. We're like, the money's the same. Everywhere, like, everybody's got their rate, right? Yeah. So it's like, you set your rate and you're like, this is what I want for a weekend. The only difference, crowds are going to be, sometimes crowds, but like, your treatment from the staff. How's the food? Where do you stay?
100%.
Where do you stay? How's the food? Is the staff nice? That's the difference in like, you're like, I'm going to, ask anybody. It's never like, my favorite clubs are the clubs in Miami. My favorite clubs are the clubs in whatever. My favorite clubs are the clubs where they fucking take care of you.
Yeah.
100% of the time.
And again, the allure, if you're a Patriots, if you're a Robert Kraft, you don't have the Tom Brady, Belichick. You don't have that anymore. That's going to swing guys. Oh, I'll put up with the bullshit. I'll put up with the no Wi-Fi. You don't have that, dude. You got a second year QB. You guys are one of the worst teams. So you got to change that.
I mean, how many times have I gone to Vegas in the last couple of years for shows? Number one place, no doubt about it. Not even close. number one place to perform, Brad Garrett's. You go in, there's a file cabinet, a like old school fucking thing, 1,000 drawers, 1,000 mini drawers. Everyone you open has a different kind of candy in it. Brad comes in, he's like, how's everything with your room? Brad Garrett is a mega famous multi-millionaire who probably gets, everybody loves Raymond checks that are worth more than my fucking family lineage every 5 weeks. How is everything with your room? Is there anything I can do with you? That's ownership.
Yeah, 100%.
The hotel's nice. I love the Comedy Cellar because the Comedy Cellar is a great brand and they get great audiences. But if you're like, you could stay at the MGM Signature with a green room full of candy and no joke, a mini fridge full of Miller Lite, and Brad going, what can I get you? Or at the Rio?
Yeah, it matters.
The audiences are better at the Rio because of the brand, but I'll never choose it.
Yeah. Well, here's what they need to do. Every owner, you kind of said it, every owner just needs to stock up and have a giant walk-in cooler of Miller Lite on their team facility.
Absolutely.
So if you want to upgrade, do it the right way. Do it with original light beer. Get Miller Lite on board.
I just said it the other day, Andy, and I'm not joking. I went to a club this past weekend. You can do your research to find out what it was. I'm not going to name names. I went to a club this past weekend. Last time I was there, a bunch of dirtballs came out drinking buckets of Miller Lite. We had the time of our lives. Things have changed at that club. And amongst other things, this is not, I am not joking. Many things have fallen off. No Miller Lite. And I was like, I don't want to work here anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's real simple. Take care of your team. Take care of your comedians. Take care of your patrons. Get some Miller Lite, guys. It just hits different than other light beers. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
I'm going to go ahead and say it, Andy. This is, I know football gets all the, like, everybody loves football. Everybody loves tailgating and sports and beer and whatever. It's a cliche thing. This right now is the start of light season.
Spring.
If you think tailgate football beer even touches a early season baseball beer, a preseason, I'll take a grapefruit league lawn beer over every football beer that's ever existed.
People are going to argue with that one, including
I know.
me.
They're like, oh, I go to the Grove and I drink. Dude, I'll take a ice cold light watching a baseball game over every football beer I've ever
Even
drank.
like a nice crisp fall, you're about to go into the stadium, you got that cold Miller Lite.
You know what? Let me tell you the difference between, because I love me a Miller Lite and some sports watching. When I'm watching football and I have a Miller Lite. When I'm watching baseball with a Miller Lite, I'm drinking Miller Lite and also watching baseball.
I gotcha.
The Miller Lite is first when I go to the ballpark. Give me a Miller Lite, remove the pitch clock, give me a 7-hour baseball game.
You're unbelievable.
Give me a 7-hour baseball game. Oh, you're going to cut me off in the top of the 8th? Well, hope those first 7 innings take 2.5 years. Do they have Miller Lite in Australia and Britain and stuff like that? Give me a cricket game with some Miller Lite. I don't need a 2-day long event of drinking Miller Lite. Take a break. We're coming back tomorrow to finish this Miller Lite drinking party.
Well, let's hop into some NBA stuff.
We got to talk about this Justin Tucker thing. I got.
Sorry.
I got to talk about it quickly.
You go for it.
In an exclusive with Outkick.com. That's all I need to know. I've never been more sure that he did it. He did everything he's accused of and more. I am certain that the man is an aggressive rapist. I've never been more sure of anything than I am that Justin Tucker is guilty.
What did he? So I didn't see this. I knew the NFL they were doing their own.
In his exclusive statements to the worst publication in all of media. This is like somebody going on in an exclusive interview with Antonio Brown's Black ESPN. It has been reported.
So what? Again, I haven't seen this. What are they saying?
Oh, I have receipts that I went to massage parlors. Yeah, dude, we know you went to massage parlors and then you sexually assaulted people there.
Well, look, that's what I'm asking. What do we like? I want to see the facts. What do we know?
Here's what I'm saying. If he had the Baltimore has a newspaper.
Okay.
Baltimore has a TV station. He went to a alt-right online thing for his exclusive interview. I've never been more sure he did it.
Well, hold on. First of all, let me, because I'm pulling it up now. I haven't seen it. So I'm trying to get to the evidence of what they're claiming.
Archdiocese of Tennessee, in an exclusive with Outkick.com, says they have never been inappropriate with any children whatsoever.
So
guilty.
This is their.
Give them the electric chair.
I'm pulling up what they're publishing. So they're So here's the documents that they have. They have an email, and again, I'm just presenting what I'm seeing right now for the first time. They have an email from a massage parlor that he's canceling his membership. This is from January 5th, 2016. A place called the QG. This is from a lead massage therapist. Justin, we are obviously sorry to see you leave the QG, but we wish you the best. I have to say it was a pleasure working with you the past few years. And as much as we'd love to see you back in Baltimore, we know life sometimes takes you in different directions. Congrats on your new home in Texas and your new little bundle of joy. I assume you had a kid. Don't forget to tell all your coworkers about us. So, yeah, I don't know what that. And then they have a legal document that. Oh, okay. So here's a legal document by. Is this the owner? Yes, this is the owner of one of those places. He says that they operated the Baltimore Spa and Salon at the Ritz-Carlton in Baltimore from 2012 to 2016. Justin was a frequent customer, received multiple massage therapy treatments. At no time did me or my wife receive any formal complaints from any source about his behavior. We never suspected that he engaged in any misconduct. So the owner is signing this. The former owner of that massage place. I don't know. So the two owners have signed this. Here's all I know.
Here's what I know about working for a news organization, about having a journalism degree. When you present things to journalists and news organizations, before those news organizations will publish those facts, they do extensive vetting to make sure that it's real. When you give it to an online alt-right blog, I'm assuming that they're not doing a whole lot of vetting.
What does alt-right mean nowadays? What does alt-right mean?
Bucky O'Hara or whatever the fuck is guy, the guys over there. I'm assuming AB isn't doing a lot of vetting of sources for Black ESPN.
You mean Bobby Burek? Look, here's my thing. I agree of like the source, the vetting. A lot of this stuff is under scrutiny, which is understandable. I'm talking across any sort of media, as it should be, given the last few years. But my thing is this: you can present all you want. That's fine and dandy. I've said this with Deshaun Watson, and I said this again with Justin Tucker. This isn't a he said, she said, guys. This is a he said, she said, she said, she said, she said, she said, she said. Like, we'll see how this plays out. But I always ask these questions because you got to follow the trail, you got to follow whatever. Why is there a hit piece out on the greatest statistical kicker of all time? You know, that's my thing of like, okay, so if this is a hit job, because I do think hit jobs happen,
and
why? Why is my question?
And also, why the kicker?
That's what I'm saying. Why on Justin?
Who would be? You know who probably has more money? Every other player on the team. If you wanted to really screw a guy over, they're like, oh, we could go with Justin Tucker, the greatest kicker of all time, who's been on the team for 15 years. Or we could go with the third string nickelback who makes twice as much as Justin Tucker, and we could railroad out of town in 3 seconds because no one gives a shit about him.
Yeah, that's always my question is if normally you're going to follow the money, and that's basically what you're saying. My question is who's trying to railroad Justin Tucker if this isn't true?
Well, listen, it's hard not to trust this report as Bobby Burek is fearless, authentic, and wokeless. So this guy doesn't give a shit. He's just here about the facts. Fearless, authentic, wokeless. I love that we're making up words now.
In his first public statement in almost a month, Ravens kicker Justin Tucker
sat down with the wokeless Bobby Burek.
Said these claims are simply not true. And again, their evidence is...
Bobby, 2 quick questions. Did you vet any of these documents? Also, are you aware that the word wokeless is not real? That is not a real word. You have 3 descriptors in your bio. One of them is a made-up word. Is it possible that these documents, like the words in your description of yourself, are made up?
Well, to me, I don't know what I'm looking at his Twitter profile. He looks like he's 15.
Who's that?
Are we looking at the same guy, Bobby Burek?
I don't know. I Twitter is deleted from my phone, Andy.
Okay, well, I'm looking at his profile says covering politics, media, culture, media, and sports. I'm looking at his profile. His profile says, I mean, he literally, Bobby looks like he's like finishing geometry in high school. Like I'm saying, like, you know, you can't base everything on looks at age, but look, again, this definitely isn't enough evidence. I had not seen this clearly for me. When you're getting, this is what they're presenting. This is what Bobby writes. We have exclusive statements from Justin Tucker and his wife. Well, geez, the guy who's being accused and his wife, and along with written documents detailing putting the accusations in question. But I believe, I could be wrong on this, I believe there's multiple spas of women that are accusing him. And again, I think it was up to 7. It's 16. It's 16 massage therapists. So again, my question is 16 women just got together. They conspired. And
Deshaun, by the way, I don't know if you've heard, Deshaun Watson has also presented evidence in an exclusive with Kissing Susie Colbert. In a breaking news on KissingSusieColbert.com, Deshaun Watson has handwritten receipts that said, I gave you that hand job willingly. Thank you for visiting our establishment. Love you always. Please come forever, Mr. Deshaun Watson, professional quarterback of the Houston Texans. So listen, if you can't trust the long resume journalists at Kissing Susie Colbert and Outkick.com, who can you trust?
I worked at a spa in Las Vegas. I worked with massage therapy. I worked around. I didn't like do massages. I worked with massage therapists. So I know these type of women. And I'm just gonna say it. They were fun chicks. I was fortunate enough to hook up with a few of them. They're also not smart chicks. I'm just gonna call it as is, that are gonna conspire and meet like it's some sort of like CIA operation. 16 women are not like meeting together. I don't even think they would know the word conspire. I don't think they would understand what that means. Yeah, I don't think this holds any weight to it. And obviously the NFL is investigating. None of this adds up to me. I need to see better receipts, Bobby. The kids talk about receipts nowadays. I need receipts. I need better receipts. These receipts are the receipt that Jim Carrey did in Dumb and Dumber. When he's like, that's a big one, the Ferrari. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Remember the sports reporters on ESPN back in the day?
Yeah, of course.
Bob Ryan, Mike Lupica.
Yeah.
We have modern day sports writer from Black ESPN. We've got a 14-year-old kid in a MAGA hat who pretends to be Antonio Brown online. From Outkick.com, we've got Bobby Burak, famous for his wokeless takes. From Pardon My Take, we've got Pardon My Take. What's your name? Is it Pardon My Take? Your Pardon 4 takes? Anyway, he won't take off his sunglasses. And
dude, we've made more sports reporters references on this show. I hated that show, by the way. Hated it.
Because you were watching Sunday morning fucking it's Sunday morning. You're just like, I am going to watch SportsCenter on repeat.
Loop. Yes.
On loop until fucking,
the game
until my hangover is over. Yeah. I'm gonna watch SportsCenter on loop from 11 a.m. until Sunday Night Baseball.
Yeah.
And Mike Lupica's like, not so fast.
Bob Ryan's big ass head just comes into the screen. I want to talk about this Luka thing though. This is one that got me all worked up. I can't get over. I just can't get over the Mavs. So obviously they played this week. Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, I did.
The fun one, man. Look at me out here late night. I'm just holding my phone, just trying to rock the baby. I'm like watching the second half. Actually, I watched most of the game, to be honest. It was a good one. There was some fun LeBron Luka
connections.
Some fun plays going on there.
Yeah.
But this is what's wild to me. This story came out in The Athletic just a few days ago. And this is from the Mavs. This is kind of like their viewpoint on the trade. This is what it says. I'm just reading the article. I can't wait for you to hear this. Make no mistake, the people who witnessed Doncic's last days in Dallas do not paint a flattering portrait of the 25-year-old's professionalism. They call him lazy. They talk about the weight issues that were such a frequent frustration within their walls. They mention the social habits that The Athletic has reported on, such as a taste for beer and hookah, which have been a point of concern for NBA types since he was a 19-year-old star for Real Madrid who is entering the NBA draft. This part gets even better. They predict his basketball demise, highlighting a health history that, as some see it, will likely lead to catastrophe in the next 5 years or so.
First of all, he moved to LA, and because he hasn't gotten settled in an apartment yet, he's living in a 14,000 square foot hyperbaric chamber that LeBron James owns. A lot of people are like, oh, he sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber for an hour. No, he lives inside of one now. He has breakfast in his hyperbaric chamber. He smokes hookah in his hyperbaric chamber. Also, if I was LeBron James, do you know what I would do right now? I would take $1 million. I would take $1 million and I would go find a fucking Armenian guy in Glendale or whatever, or if I go, and I would trademark and start producing Luca's Hookahs.
Oh, that's great.
Luca's, like, sell it to every Lakers fan ever. Who gives a shit if he's hookahing?
Who gives a shit if he's drinking beer?
Yeah.
Dude, the thought of his demise in 5 years. And here's what's ironic. What better place as a guy who lives there now as for you, and as a guy who lived there for 13 years, me. There's never been a better city for me to be like, I want to get in shape. Everybody is attractive. Girls, guys, you name it. Everybody's in shape. You know how it is. You're like, man, it's sunny. I kind of feel like running on the beach. It's great. I want to look good with my shirt off. Or, it's versus
being in Dallas, Texas, and you're like, what do you want to do today? It's like, well, we are getting close to the playoffs, so it's 175 degrees outside. I guess we could go to Texas Roadhouse and eat 4 loaves of bread. They're like, come on, we can't go there. We got to go someplace classy, like Whataburger.
Well, it gets better.
Hey, we should probably not do something that involves eating today. Maybe we could do something called, all right, should we go see where Kennedy was shot for the 700th time since I lived here?
I mean, look, in my history of watching sports, I can't recall.
We need to take a walk, dude. We need to get a little exercise. Cool. I heard there's a 90,000 square foot IKEA we could stroll around.
I can't recall in my lifetime.
Should we go to like the river walk or something? Fun fact, there's no rivers here. That's San Antonio you're thinking about.
Can you recall in your lifetime a generational type player where the concern like was his weight? Now we've had guys.
Yes, I can. Charles Barkley.
I was just going to say
in Philadelphia.
Is it Charles?
He went to Phoenix and he immediately won the MVP.
Yeah, that's true.
And took the team to the finals.
Did you know Nico Harrison, the GM for the Mavs background?
No.
Did you know his background? Because this story gets even better. This is. I was like, when I saw this, like, oh, Prano's going to get all five.
I assume his last name is actually Davis, and he's Anthony Davis's brother.
No, so Nico Harrison is a former Nike executive.
No, I knew that.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But again, I'm reading the article and I'm like, oh, he rose to prominence as the trusted shoe representative for Kobe Bryant. And again, this is from the article. Thus, he decided, wait until we hear it, guys, this is classic dirty sports, that Doncic didn't fit the Mamba mentality bill. Yep. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yep.
Guy who was working with Kobe all those years looked at Luka and said, you don't have the Mamba mentality. Guys, if you follow the fucking game, what he's done since he was drafted versus Kobe doesn't even compare. Kobe literally didn't even start for a couple years. Kobe then got Shaq, and then they started winning. Or no, sorry, Shaq was already on the team. But my point was, Shaq gets the finals MVPs, which we've discussed at length. The thought that he doesn't have the Mamba mentality.
But he traded him for street clothes.
Yeah.
That's his nickname, street clothes. We're worried about the demise. You traded for somebody whose demise has already happened.
And I guess I didn't realize this. Harrison also had a close relationship with Anthony Davis, which, again, from their days together at Nike.
This goes back to the same thing that was talked about in the start. If you feel this way about Luka, and you're like, we're never winning anything with him, he's going to fall off in the next 5 years. Cool. Go get 4 first rounders for him. You didn't get anything for him. We can shit on their beliefs about what's going to happen to Luka all we want. Maybe they're right. But what did you do? So let's say you think you have a 5-year window. You've not made yourself better in the next 5 years, and you've not made yourself better beyond 5 years. You've traded him for nothing. And you sent him to the freak athlete of all time. You can talk about Tom Brady all you want. Tom Brady stood in a fucking pocket, threw a football, and if he was touched, they executed men in the middle of the field. LeBron James is in his 40s, playing at a higher level than most guys do at 25. There's no one in the history of sports across the board, in any sport whatsoever, who has figured out how to take care of their body better than LeBron James. And you sent him Luka? And now Luka owns a large strip mall in the San Fernando Valley that has a hookah shop and a beer distributor, and the whole thing is inside a hyperbaric chamber? He has a recovery car where he gets in and the whole thing straps him in, and it's a recovery plan.
Do you think the Lakers are legit contenders now?
By legit, they're certainly more contenders so than they were before they got Luka. The Lakers and the Knicks sit in the second tier of NBA teams, just outside of the true contenders right now.
So in a way, you're saying no.
Yeah, but things can happen. I also don't think the Knicks are true contenders right now, which is like we could talk about that. Like the Isaiah Hartenstein leaving the Knicks has been, maybe the most significant move in the Eastern Conference for the entire offseason is Isaiah Hartenstein leaving the Knicks. Karl-Anthony Towns, it's nice, but we still, and if Mitchell Robinson comes back, great. But like Isaiah Hartenstein, I'll say this. The Isaiah Hartenstein move might be the biggest move of the offseason across the board. Not only did it take the Knicks out of perhaps being a true contender in the East, but maybe ensured that the Oklahoma City Thunder do win the championship. That's wild. That's a wild move. Isaiah Hartenstein being the fucking Big Bang move of the NBA offseason. But I think it's Oklahoma City. I think it's Boston. I think it's Cleveland. Although I'd put Cleveland below Denver, like probably OKC, Boston, Denver. Boston, OKC, Denver. Now we're getting into Cleveland because they're just playing so well, but I'm not a real believer in Cleveland. Cleveland is sort of the bridge to me between those top three and the Knicks Lakers. If Mitchell Robinson comes back and just plays like out of his mind, again, if Anthony Davis comes back, like Mitchell Robinson is the street clothes of the Eastern Conference. So he'd have to come back, but like maybe they're sitting third and they're sitting pretty easily in third right now. So maybe they're just like letting him get healthy, which would be a strong move. But and then the Lakers, it's like, can a team that is built around two very, very similar players, can they contend with like deeper, more versatile basketball teams? Like, I don't know that they can, but then the big question mark for Lakers, and this also goes for my Knicks, is like, what if the two best players on those teams lose their fucking minds? The Knicks aren't as deep as they were last year, but they've added Karl-Anthony Towns to Jalen Brunson. What if those two guys lose their fucking minds? What if Luka and LeBron lose their minds together? It's one of those things where it's like, they could beat anybody in the West, but then it's could they beat anybody in the West through multiple rounds? I think both of them are just outside of the true contender class. And I'd probably put the Lakers above the Knicks right now, although maybe not, because the Knicks are in the East.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy to think, again, generational type player for a injury riddled guy who's great when he's on the court. I mean, guys, he got hurt in his first game with the Mavs. Their concern is hookah and booze. Dude, you can stop the hookah, you can stop the booze. You can't stop the guy who gets injured all the time.
I don't know if you've heard. It's sort of breaking news, but Luka is sick of hearing about this, and he has presented receipts from his LA Fitness membership to Kylie Kelsey's podcast and Call Her Daddy. So I don't know. I know the chick from Call Her Daddy isn't, a professional journalist, but he does have screenshots of his LA Fitness check-ins at the Dallas location. So
I heard he also presented receipts from his last visit to Whole Foods.
Yes.
He's starting to get that organic juice and the healthy food in his system. Look, I don't care what he hookahs. I don't care what Luka hookahs or what he drinks. I just know that game the other day, for a guy who obviously hasn't watched as much NBA this year, it's like, dude, he's fun to watch. He's having triple-double. He's playing with LeBron James.
In an exclusive interview with thingswhitepeoplelike.com, the CEO of Texas Roadhouse has said Luka Doncic never visited any of their locations. I don't know what else we can do here.
I want to play this Dwayne Wade clip about LeBron James and chocolate chip cookies.
Okay.
This is Dwayne Wade basically calling what he felt was maybe the beginning of the end of the Heat run of the Big Three. And he thinks and he's not joking. You'll see. He thinks it started over the Heat and Pat Riley taking LeBron's chocolate chip cookies after they had already been making finals appearances and winning titles. I don't even know what show he said this on. I don't really care, but I'm going to pull it up.
This was the first moment where I had an inkling that LeBron may not be back. One thing you don't do is fuck with LeBron cookies. No. This is serious. Like, he loves chocolate chip cookies. Like, chocolate chip cookies and ice cream he loves, right? And so when he gets on the plane, Bron walks on the plane with a bag of food. One bag is all cookies, and other bags are what his chef has prepared for him to eat, because he eats a certain way. He don't eat what's on the plane.
Yeah.
But he have his cookies. So we get on the plane and we play cards at the front of the plane. We play cards, and then at some point, Bron gonna be like, "Hey, bring me those cookies." And this one day, he was like, "Hey, where my cookies at?" And they had to come up there and whisper in his ear and tell him there were no more cookies on the plane.
Yeah.
That motherfucker sat back away from the game. He pushed that cards back. He sat there quiet, doing his head like this. I was looking, I'm like, he ain't play cards no more. He sat there like this.
And Smack, you gotta know, if this card game gets shut down, shit's serious.
Oh yeah, I know.
It's serious. If this card game gets shut down, it's serious.
It was too much micromanaging at that point. Like, you're talking about a team who's 4 finals in a row.
Right.
You don't need to micromanage us. And I felt that Rouse he went a little too far with his micromanaging at points like that. We grown man. You don't take the cookies away from us. And this seems small, but we get on it and change all the chips. You got the shit that gets you through.
Yeah.
When I get on this plane, I want this, because this is what gets me through, because now I'm about to fly to the city. I ain't getting in at 3 a.m. The food on the plane I really don't want to eat. I can't eat when I get in. I got to get up in the morning. We got to do this again in D.C. Like, I got to have my comforts along the way, or I ain't gonna be me. Rouse take all them comforts away when he hot. When Rouse hot, ain't no comfort.
This is the freakiest freak athlete of all time. The man sleeps in a hyperbaric chamber. The guy spends $2 million a year on his body. He can have cookies. Also, I don't even understand. So he would come on with did like the cookies come on the plane and then Pat Riley took them off the plane? He was like, these are going off the plane.
That's what I'm trying to wonder.
That is a slap in the face.
Well, that's like me parenting my 2-year-old.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And again, if what he's saying, everything is accurate of like, dude, we've been to 4 straight finals. We've won 2. You know, to me, that sounds like a power trip.
Yeah.
That's just Pat Riley.
Will tell you one thing, and I know you're a parent, and everybody does it their own way. But I've worked with kids, and listen, NBA players are essentially big kids. I've worked with kids in sports for over 20 years. Honestly, closer to 30 years because I started coaching kids when I was 15. So 20, that's 30 years ago that I started coaching kids. I would say the number one thing I learned about coaching kids, teaching kids, motivating kids. I don't subscribe to fear-based learning. I subscribe to reward-based learning. You do well, you get rewarded. Not you do poorly, you get punished. Losing and failing is punishment enough. Winning, you reward.
Yeah.
Succeeding, you reward. I'm not here to tell Pat Riley how to motivate players, but this is when you get into things like, dude, trying to figure out how to motivate the 11th guy on the bench is one thing. Motivating LeBron, just let LeBron James do what LeBron James does.
My question would be, again, we always ask, what's the end game here? So what's the end game? You're taking away the best player in the NBA. You're taking away your guy, the main cog in this new big 3 that you've assembled brilliantly, that you got everybody to come down to South Beach. That was you. You're the architect. You're Pat Riley. You've done this. What is the end game to take away his chocolate chip cookies? That would be my question. Why? Do you think he's going to say, oh, yeah, I shouldn't eat those? My thing is, especially when it comes to nutrition and these guys, if it doesn't affect your performance, and we've said this, like there's a difference. Gronk can be a partying drunk frat boy. It didn't affect his performance. I don't care. Johnny Manziel couldn't do it. So it does matter. There's certain people it does matter. Right? Like we know that about ourselves. I can't sit here and take edibles with a newborn because I'm not gonna be able to function and be like, wake a baby, a baby wakes me up and then I gotta feed them and burp them and fucking like that affects my performance. There's certain, dude, I got friends, they can get stoned all they want and they're great.
I'll tell you what, I mean, I'm older now and I've got it coming up. So bachelor party in a couple weeks, Salt Lake City. We're going to do some snowboarding. We're going to do some skiing.
Snowboarding, skiing, and soaking.
Yeah. I just did a weekend in Tahoe with my fiance and Jen and Brian. 4 days, not 4 days, no, 3 days in a row. First day I got up and I went out with Tony and his kids. 3 days in a row. We went out, we had dinner, we had a couple drinks. We were in bed relatively early. I mean, I don't think any night we were up. Maybe just the night where we watched the SNL thing, where we up past midnight. Every day, we got up, moseying out, slow moving, and we're like, oh, do we just do a half day? We ended up doing 3 half-day things. We're getting to the mountain at noon. Historically, and this is likely what's going to happen at my bachelor party. I go out with my boys. If I go for a ski trip with my boys, we're getting banged up. I'll pray into dinner with drinks, into post drinks. You're going to bed. I mean, Mikey fell out of a bunk bed one time on a ski trip. and we get up. It doesn't matter. We go to bed 3:30 because somebody has flipped over the card table, or Mikey's gotten locked outside naked. And you pull him in. You got to hose him down with hot water. 3:30, you hit the bed. 7:30, you're up. And the reason is, I am going to go hard to prove to you that I'm not old. I'm not sleeping in. I'm not whatever. Meanwhile, we're doing these. We're going to bed at 10 and we're making half days. No, Michael Jordan was going to Atlantic City the night before games and getting home at 4 a.m. It's what he needs to just go, I'll show you.
Yeah, and I'm gonna crush it the next day. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's why I said certain guys can handle it, and certain guys can't.
I'm never going to go harder on a ski mountain than if I'm fucking like, I'm hungover as shit, but I'm not about to waste the day because I can't. I'm too old to fucking put down some Miller Lights and get up in the morning and do it.
Yeah. And look, I don't know if that was, and he's not saying that. You know, I played you guys a minute clip. I don't know if that was the start. He thinks it might have been
From the underground barbershop or whatever. Who is any of those people?
I have no clue.
If you have 2 years of service time in the NBA, you just got to find somebody else with 2 years of service time, and you guys can have a podcast. I feel like there's an NBA Players Association requirement that if you're Dwayne Wade or Kevin Garnett or whatever, like everybody you have to go on everybody who's ever played in the NBA's podcast.
It's a requirement.
Does Dwayne Wade just spend every day going on former NBA players' podcasts?
Are those even former NBA players?
I don't know.
Underground Lounge. Oh yeah, I didn't see it. So yeah,
Was that Lou Williams?
It was Lou Williams and
I thought it was one. I thought one dude was Lou Williams.
And Spank Horton, who is listed as a stand-up comedian, actor from North Philadelphia.
Spank Horton. If you had asked me 3 seconds ago if Spank Horton is a writer on Outkick.com, I would have said absolutely 100%.
I would have said he was a porn producer. That's a great porn production.
Spank Horton. Spank Horton sounds like a Dr. Seuss character. Spank Horton, here's a who.
Yeah, they've done
Yo, can we get like, so if you're a former NBA player, all you got to do is find a black comedian that literally no one's heard of to be your co-host. Dude, can Steve Novak and I start Steve Novak, get at me. Like, fucking, can we start the Championship Belt podcast where me and Steve Novak, he's like, former NBA sharpshooter Steve Novak and no-name comedian Joe Prano.
But you know, here's what's great about this.
Bunker.
Yeah, here's what's great about this. That's like a great story. Like that's something no one's heard. Obviously, I saw it. You know how like you just stuff will pop up, and I was like, oh, this is very interesting. We're talking, and then of course, you know, the memes are great, and everybody was responding with that great Bernie Mac bit, milk and cookies. You know, you know, from Kings of Comedy, about like his flamboyantly gay kid or like his nephew or whatever. But like that's a great little story. That's a great nug. And he's revealing it on Spank Horton's podcast. I do like that it's written in the contract that these guys have to hit every former NBA player's podcast.
And I just love how they build these podcasts. It's like they just take random things. They're like, also check out the new podcast, the 3-Man podcast starring Jeremy Lin, former MLB manager Charlie Manuel, and actress Cynthia Nixon. This podcast, Lin-Manuel Miranda. Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? I swear to God, you come up with the names before you come up with the shows half the time.
Oh man. We'll probably never know. I want to hear. I need a response from this. I need a LeBron response. I need a Pat Riley response. Was it over the cookies? You don't take anybody's cookies away. I'm just saying, like I'm a guy. I'm a big chocolate chip cookie guy. I'm a big cookie guy. Look,
You got to follow. I mean, the secret behind the success of the 70s Oakland Athletics, right, Andy?
LSD.
Mrs. Fields.
Oh, yeah.
She was a ball girl, and she started making cookies, and her cookies were so good. She's now a cookie maven.
Yeah.
If I was LeBron, I would just post a cryptic Cookie Monster post. I'd tweet some shit like C is for championships.
Yo, Cookie Monster. I watch a lot of Sesame Street now. Cookie Monster is insane.
Yeah.
Have
Man
you
loves
watched that
cookies.
lately?
Have I watched Sesame Street lately? I thought Sesame Street was canceled.
It's on Max.
I heard they canceled that shit. I think you're watching old eps.
Maybe, but like Cookie Monster, because he doesn't just do
It was.
cookies.
I mean, listen, we've had Sesame Street for 60 years, but not with Doge. Doge's like, we ain't paying for all these fucking Muppets.
No, it was not canceled. That was canceled. Oh, it was. Oh, it no longer appear on Max. Will no longer appear on Max after the 55th season, which began airing in January. They'll continue to license. That's a Max thing. I don't know. It's the kids learn. I think it's actually a good show. But Cookie Monster, him and he's got a sidekick Gonger, and they got like a food truck.
Gonger?
Yeah, this is all new for me too.
They got a food truck?
Him and Gonger make like food, not just cookies.
Which one of them is a licensed driver?
Oh, they drive insane too.
There's absolutely no way. There's no way Cookie Monster can pass the eye test. They like read the letters from the top. He's like, C, 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 C. They're actually all E's pointed in different directions. So I'm gonna need you to.
Let's just say Miss Rachel is off. She
No more Miss Rachel?
She can't handle it.
Who can't handle it?
My daughter.
What do you mean she can't handle it?
Like she can't handle stopping. Something about that show. Like if it's, hey, we're turning it off, it's time for a bath.
Oh, so she's addicted to Miss Rachel.
Like there's some sort. I don't know what.
And now you've gone full Pat Riley and just removed her from the equation. Is this what you're telling me?
Oh yeah. Miss Rachel is removed. She's removed. Mickey Mouse Club, Sesame Street, Coco Mountain, all the other ones. Like we can transition from watching that to eating, to leaving, to taking a bath, to going outside. Miss Rachel, I'm gonna fuck up your whole house. Is basically what happens. Oh, you're gonna turn off Miss Rachel? Yeah, I'm watching on the iPad. Fuck your iPad, Dad. I'm gonna throw this against the wall, go full Ron Artest in your ass. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Maybe that's why she's so popular.
I think she's popular because middle-aged autistic men jack off to her.
Oh, so nasty, bro. So nasty. Oh my God. No. She just can I say something real quick about her real quick?
Here we go. Who, Miss Rachel?
Well, look, I'm not trying to, because I'm not an Adonis. I'm not a model, but like, dude, you have millions of followers. Like, you gotta like get your nails done. And like I'm always watching. I'm like, her nails are kind of like, you got a lot, like your nails, and like bleach your teeth. Like, you're like a star, man. Miss Rachel looking kind of grimy. That's why. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm not. You're saying middle-aged guys jacking off. Like, maybe it's just me. I'm just like, oh, you kind of. I don't know. No. 310-359-8365. That's our hotline. Give us a shout.
Are we titling this episode Miss Rachel looking kind of grimy?
We got a lot of options. Well, let's see. I always write things down. I mean, we've had so many Kirk Cousins. I do love Kirk Cousins. Is Shalane Maxwell. There's no other logical explanation that he's got dirt on teams.
No.
Honestly, have you ever heard in your entire life a team paying $28 million for a backup QB?
No.
With an additional $10 million that's going to be guaranteed in 2 weeks?
No. It's a money laundering scheme.
And that's why the Falcons are so highly rated. The players are like, oh yeah.
The players they pay us to suck.
Yeah, like they're top 3 highly rated. Yeah, dude. Food's great. They pay us. They don't give a shit about us winning. You got anything to promote?
I'll be at the San Luis Obispo Comedy Festival this weekend. Slow Fest. I've got a show tonight in Paso Robles, a show tomorrow in Slow, headlining one of the Saturday shows in Slow. You can go find all that on the San Luis Obispo Comedy Festival.com website. Got some shows coming up. You can find all those, joeprano.com. Like I said, another comedy festival in early May, Athens Comedy Festival, Athens, Georgia. And between these 2 comedy festivals, a bunch of shows in and around LA. So come to joeprano.com and then come to a show.
Cool. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. And as always, stay dirty.